Welcome to the SAP Enable Now micro-learning demo. There are three things we wish to cover in this demo. The first being the desktop assistant, the second being Enable Now Manager, and the third being the Enable Now Learning Hub. Desktop Assistant provides in-context guidance, simulations, and walkthroughs, which assist users in executing processes in real time. Enable Now Manager allows us as administrators to allocate learning content, including examinations and business process procedures. Another key component of Enable Now Manager is the analytics that we can run on things like most viewed courses and most failed examinations. This reporting capability allows us to tailor our approach and our content to make it as user-specific and user-relevant as possible. The Learning Hub is the portal through which end users access training, such as simulations and guided tours, and also where they can test their understanding using the practice modes, concurrent modes, and test modes. So let's go ahead and take a look at Desktop Assistant. You should be able to see the little square icon in the middle right-hand corner of my screen with the flashing light bulb image within it. This is Desktop Assistant, which lays over all of the applications, cloud-based or on-prem, that you might wish to configure learning in. And once it recognizes an environment in which training material is being configured, the light bulb starts to flash, as we can see it doing here. We click the light bulb icon, and it brings up all the in-context help that's available to us in this environment. Now, it's important to state that what we're using for this proof of concept is a very simple process in a system called SPM. It's a procurement and inventory management module. All the data in here is dummy data. And the process that we're going to be using for the simulation and the guided tour is a simple one involving changing views in what's called the interactive planning worksheet. First thing we're going to cover in this Desktop Assistant demo is simulation, indicated by the blue hexagon with the cursor icon inside. Let's go ahead and play it. As soon as we click play, a little simulation opens in the bottom right hand corner of our screen, which we can expand or minimize as we like. Each time we press play, the simulation moves on a step, so we can take things in at our own pace. Also useful to point out that this SAP branding can be replaced with your client's branding. And we're going through the steps now. Demo complete. So we've changed the view to single column mode, which is recommended by the developer. Okay, so if we as the user feel confident enough to go ahead and execute that process live in the platform, we can do that now. We can watch the simulation again, or we can opt for something called the guided tour. Now, the guided tour provides in-platform prompts to help us execute the process end-to-end. What you're about to see is exactly the same steps that featured in the simulation, but we're going to be carrying them out with a little help from Desktop Assistant. So here we go, following the same steps. A little bit slow over the Capgemini VPN. But it will catch up, there we go. And we're already on single column. Click apply, and the process is complete. So showing you the simulation, which is kind of safe space, show me style presentation, showing you the guided tour. Third thing that I wanted to showcase in this demonstration is the sort of glossary that you can incorporate. So you find that many users out there, many of our clients, are migrating from a system called SPO to SPM. What could be helpful to those users is a glossary which converts the terms between the old and the new environments. We find that getting a grip on the new language that accompanies new technology is very difficult sometimes. So here we have what were formerly known in SPO as alert codes, and are now known in SPM as review names. These terms indicate to the user why they need to review inventory in any given location. Now that the end user has this glossary, there's no need for them to escalate any misunderstandings to either the service desk or their peers or their managers. So those are just 4 components of desktop assistant functionality that I wanted to showcase. We'll move on to Enable Now Manager, and we'll close by looking at the Learning Hub. The second element of SAP Enable Now that we wish to cover in this demonstration is Enable Now Manager. This is where we, as administrators, manage our work area and our content. It's where we assign roles to other change practitioners. It's where we establish permissions. It's where we set up workflows so that draft material always has to go by the same manager before being approved and published, for example. We have the ability to assign tasks to our fellow change practitioners. The most interesting aspect of Enable Now Manager is the Learning Reporter. This allows us to pull reports on user activity by user, by assignment, and interestingly, by desktop assistant usage. Now this is only the demo version, so we don't have any real stats in here. What this tool will show us is the top 150, 25, 10, or top 5 most accessed desktop assistant content. Insight like this allows us to focus our training where it's needed most, i.e. where people are struggling most. They will be accessing the content over and over again. You can also see how many times content has been shared between co-workers. Again, that will give us the same idea of how to tailor our material, whether it's too inaccessible, or whether the process is just too difficult and requires some hands-on learning and shadowing. The third and final component of Enable Now that I wish to demonstrate is the Learner Hub. So this is the portal through which users actually access the training content. They can access the simulation that we saw earlier on. They can access the guided tour that we saw earlier on. A few things that are available to them here that weren't in the desktop assistant are things like business process procedure documents, which we can automatically produce off the back of simulations in Producer as developers. Let's take a look at one of those. And again, these can be customized with your client's branding, headers and footers. And these are documents which can be taken off-site, taken offline. These are documents that can be used in UAT. We can generate test scripts using the tool. We spoke earlier on about analytics in the Manager tool. Let's go ahead and take a test, just as a learner would. Test is on that process that we demonstrated earlier on. I'll go through the steps. Be given an OK, providing I do the right thing. I'll be given an error message if I click off. So we've reached the end of the task and we've attained an 100% score, which is great. This score is going to be passed back through the system and something that change practitioners can look at. So that's the conclusion of the Enable Now micro-learning demo. If you'd like to find out about any of the capability of Enable Now in more detail, please consult the PowerPoint presentation attached.